Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining in this video. So over the last week, I got a few requests to make videos on the moon and what are the results of the moon when it is placed in different houses and with different planets. So this video is about the moon and the conjunctions of the moon. What happens if the moon behaves when it sits with other planets? Okay. So before we get into the meat of the video, there is one predictive principle that I would like to share with all of you. And that is going to take your predictions to the next level. Okay. So I would prefer the moon to be alone in any chart because, if the moon joins some other planet in the chart, then the houses ruled by the planets joining the moon would be constantly occupying the mind of the person. Okay, say the moon joins Mars. Okay, Mars and moon is a very common conjunction. So the moon joins Mars and Mars rules the 4th house and the 11th house. So obviously I'm speaking about Capricorn ascendant here. Okay, so in that case, matters of the 4th house, that means mother, homeland, property, vehicles, etc., etc., and matters of the 11th house, gains, income, friends, network circles, and so on, would constantly be running on the mind of the native. So the themes of the 4th house and the 11th house are going to be very prominent in the thought process of such a native. Okay, so this is an important predictive principle that all of you need to keep in mind when you study the conjunctions of the moon. Okay, but then what happens when the moon joins different planets in the birth chart? Let's have a look. So the sun and moon. Generally, the sun and moon will join if the person is born very close to Amavasya or around Amavasya. Okay. And such a conjunction can usually make a person very thin and fragile. And it also indicates that the person will be fond of taking decisions on their own. Okay. It would indicate that the person will not consult people before taking important decisions. Okay, it could be their parents, it could be their spouse, but the person would like to take their own decisions. Okay, and if the sun and the moon are located in the same sign but in mutual navamshas, then it can indicate poverty. Okay, it can make a person inconsistent if the sun and moon join together in lagna. Okay, now if the sun and moon are joining each other in Leo, then the sun gains strength and the moon becomes weak. Similarly, if the sun and moon are joining in Cancer, then the moon will become stronger as compared to the sun. Okay, now if the sun and the moon are joining in Libra, then the sun will become weak, because Libra, of course, is the debilitation sign of the sun, but then the moon will not lose strength. Okay, and if the sun and moon are located within 3 degrees or less in the chart, then such a person will almost always be deprived of some vital energy. Okay, and if this conjunction has to give you wealth, then the conjunction should happen during Shukla Paksha or during Purnima. Okay, and it should happen in a Kendra house. Otherwise, in most cases I've seen, it gives monetary problems. Okay, again, if the sun and moon are combining on Amavasya, then as I said, it can cause wealth issues. Okay, now if Mercury joins this conjunction, because obviously we know that Mercury lies very close to the sun. Okay, Mercury remains very close to the sun. So in that case, the moon stops becoming favorable, because then Mercury will try to pull out all the water from the moon, and the person will be very unemotional and dry. Similarly, a person with sun and moon in the 12th house without any aspects of benefic planets can be very simplistic, can be a simpleton, if that is a slang to be used. Okay, and then even if the sun and moon are not conjunct, but if they are located 212 or 6-8 from each other, then it can create conflicts in houses where the sun and the moon are placed. For example, say the moon is in the 4th house, the sun is in the 5th house, then it can cause conflicts due to matters of the 4th house as well as of the 5th house. Okay, and finally, if the sun and moon are less than 3 degrees apart, less than 3 degrees apart, then it can make the person very handpicked. But then what happens, as I said in the very beginning, the person will not hesitate to take decisions on his or her own. Okay, so sun and moon. Next, we come to moon and Mars, right? This is a very common conjunction. And if it happens in the Kendras, it can indicate that the person would want to, do his own thing, not go for a job, but go for a business or self-employment. It can also make the person extremely emotional, unpredictable, in need of control. Okay, bad with control. That means they will not know when to start and when to stop. Overall, they would have a healthy disposition, but they will be overactive, short-tempered, sometimes very headstrong, belligerent, ambitious, and very unceremonious. Okay, and as I said, if this conjunction happens in the Kendras, the person would be more keen to do a business than to do a job. And if the conjunction happens in Lagna, then boils and bleeding may appear in the Dasha of Mars. Okay, and in females, it can cause menstrual problems. Okay, then comes Moon and Mercury. Now, Moon and Mercury have a very peculiar relationship. Okay, Mercury is said to be the illegitimate son of the Moon. And because Mercury is the illegitimate son of the Moon, it draws out all the water from the Moon. So in addition to it, it can give a very active mind, a highly developed intellect, sober reasoning, good memory. It can make the person witty, expressive, and the person will have, very outstanding qualities when it comes to intellectual abilities. Okay, now if this conjunction is afflicted by malefics, then the person can become hypersensitive, disdainful of others, will stand out with an eccentric command and would love to gossip. Okay, and the nervous system will become especially weak if moon and Mercury are in opposition to each other. That means if they are opposite to each other. Okay, and again, this conjunction can make a person suffer from various complexities, suspicion, feelings of guilt and insecurity. And if this combination happens in the 3rd, 6th, 8th, or 12th house, then such a person can be very skilled in poetry, creativity, arts, and craft. And towards later part of life, that means after 42, when Rahu matures, remember Mercury is the planet that exalts Rahu. When Rahu matures, it brings a lot of wealth. Moon and Jupiter, this is a combination that is known as Gaja Kesari Yoga. But the condition is that Jupiter should not be retrograde. Otherwise, you will not get the full benefits of Gaja Kesari Yoga. Okay, it gives an extremely pleasing personality. Okay, the person will be optimistic, benevolent. He or she will be very empathetic. He or she will be open-minded, kind-hearted, will have a very developed mind that is inclined towards religious service. Now, if this conjunction is afflicted by malefics, then such a person can become lethargic, wasteful, and too demanding and egoistic. Okay, Moon and Venus, such a person would love to work in the background. Okay, they will not reveal themselves. Even if they are doing something, it will seem that they are not doing something, but things are still getting done. Okay, and they will be distinguished by a love of beauty, refinement, composure, justice, shyness, and the ability to bargain and make deals. These people will follow fashion, will be fond of art and music, and will be prone to mood swings at times. Okay, and if this conjunction happens in the 7th house or the 11th house, it can increase interest in the opposite sex, because both of them are watery planets and the person is just looking to spread the water. Okay, whether it's a male or a female. And this is one kind of a wealth yoga. Okay, because Moon and Venus both signify money. It is one kind of dhan yoga, and usually it also gives love marriage. Okay, And this conjunction, I've seen this conjunction giving love marriage even if it happens in the Navamsha. But then if people are born at night, that means after sunset, then the conjunction of Moon and Venus, if it happens in the 6th house or the 8th house, can create digestive disorders and problems in the abdomen. Okay, what happens if Moon combines with Saturn? So this can cause, this can give rise to bad character. The person will have a problem with everything. Okay, it can cause anxiety issues. The person will remain gloomy, conscientious, pessimist, will have low self-esteem and will be fearful of making a mistake. They will be always trying to derive the outcome of something before embarking on a task. On a positive side, the person will be disciplined, hardworking, and will stand out with a very meticulous way of talking. Okay, again, Moon and Saturn, it means the person will suffer from emotional issues, will be carrying a lot of emotional baggage. So this is one of the most difficult combinations to have. Okay, because if you're carrying emotional baggage from your childhood and you don't find a way to deal with your emotional baggage, it can cause you problems with your body, because a good body means healthy emotions. Okay, your emotions and your health are very much connected to each other. All right, what happens if the Moon combines with Rahu? Now this can make a person very eccentric. Okay, it can make a person very eccentric. The person will have very expansive thoughts, because Rahu is the one who is the rule breaker. So the person will be fond of breaking rules. And if it happens in 3, 6, or 11 houses, then these people can be accused of, of plagiarism, can suffer if, can be accused of copyright infringement, for example, can be. I've seen a lot of people who make money under the table have this Moon Rahu combination. Okay, and then these people, their intelligent will be volatile. Their intelligence, sorry, will be volatile, because then they don't know what to do with their excess intelligence that is given by Rahu. All right. Moon with Ketu. So this is Grahan Yoga, because Ketu is the is the prime enemy of the Moon, and every time Moon joins with Ketu, the person will be very, very headstrong. The person will behave in a very headless way, because Ketu is trying to consume the Moon, and the person will not think of the consequences of his or her action, because Ketu influences the Moon in a very malefic way. Okay, it is also a combination of poverty, especially if it happens in the Kendras. The person can lose a lot of wealth unwittingly. The wealth may come, and then the wealth will not stay with that person if Moon is joining Ketu. Moon joining Ketu can also give issues with the blood. Moon joining Ketu can give issues with a very sharp and hostile speech. Okay, Moon joining Ketu can give severe issues with the mother. Okay, that means if you have this combination, you may never have a very good relationship with your mother, or the relationship with your mother may be on and off due to various reasons. That means you will never be able to show, your mother will never agree with your perception. Similarly, you may never agree with the perceptions of your mother. Okay, so there could be a situation where both you and your mother never find a common ground to come to an agreement, because agreements are all about finding common grounds. Okay, so these were the combinations of the Moon. Do let me know if it matches with you, and in the next video I'll be sharing the results of Moon in the houses. So stay tuned for that video, and as always, please subscribe to the channel, like the content if you find it useful, and if you have any questions or queries, please leave them in the comment section. So that's it from me in this video. I'll see you soon in yet another video. Namaste. Om Gurave Namaha.